Yeah, man, obviously the results haven't kind of been what you guys have wanted the last couple of weeks, but in terms of how things have unfolded, what's maybe the most concerning thing to you about kind of the way you haven't been able to find that consistency and things have broken down kind of, I know every game's different, but anything that kind of stands out in terms of like what, I don't know, that keeps you up at night but concerns you when you've kind of evaluated these last, 3-4 weeks?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is all 11 functioning as one from an execution standpoint, so it may be a player here or a player there, and that's my job, and our job is to look at it in totality, but to make sure that each piece is in place to be functional and be able to make plays and be able to do their job. So that's the biggest thing is, okay, enough answers, but simple enough to be able to execute at a higher level in the last couple of weeks.
Coach, you've said in the past that the mentality is where your defense is rooted in. Obviously, the results haven't been what you've wanted to be, but how would you kind of assess where your defense's mentality and kind of psyche is overall at this point?
Yeah, for sure. I think, the preparation leading into the game was in a good place. I think the psyche going into the game was in a good place. We started fast, in my opinion, because of that, but it's got to sustain, right? And that's, obviously the results aren't close to what we wanted. And the challenge is to, again, take the emotion out of it, be objective. Here's the coaching points. Let's get better. We own it as coaches, you own it as players, and we work together to do that. But I don't think there's anybody that's backing down from the challenge.
Yeah, Coach, Linnell Carr had a couple sacks early in the game. Just kind of what did you make of his performance and kind of what he's brought to that kind of like edge rush type role? For sure. He definitely has ability, and,
that you saw some of the edge rush talent that he has early in that game, to generate the sacks against that team, and just being consistent and keep bringing that every single day, keep bringing that every single game. That our job is to put him in places to be able to go be successful.
UM's rushing offense ended averaging, I think, 180 yards a game. I think first half they had about 32, 34, somewhere in that range. I think it ballooned about 160. What do you feel like changed?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think a little bit is, style of play at times based on the game. Obviously, that team has been explosive running the ball and throwing the ball, right? And they're a talented team. I thought our guys, did handle, run scheme early on well. But it goes back to, again, making plays in critical moments, getting stops, so you evaluate in totality as a whole compared to just one component of the game.
Hey, Coach. Coach Allen was asked about some of the breakdowns and if guys aren't trusting the guy next to him. He said it's not so much about trust, but maybe a guy trying to do too much, doing somebody else's job and not just his own. How do you coach that where you want him to be aggressive, play that way, but also realize they got to play disciplined and they got to do their job and not try to be a hero, so to speak?
For sure. No, it's a great point, especially in a big game and big moments. They have to believe that they're just doing your job leads to making plays, right? And that's our job to be able to have a system that's built that way, and it is, So if everybody does their job within it, I say this defense all the time, everybody eats, right? Everybody gets, plays their way. It's built that way with different blitzers and different coverages and fronts. And guys have to believe that each piece is going to do that, not press to try to make every play on the field, right? Sometimes a play goes against you and guys start to press to be able to make a play. You saw in a big scramble drill that led into a touchdown, right? So you go from a potential sack and a critical 3rd and 10 to a big explosive touchdown throw. Everybody just doing their job and at max capacity. And that's got to, we hold you accountable to that and then believing that that's, going to lead to success.
Give up 96, I think it's 96 points in the last two games. How do you get the mentality just to get rid of those a couple of games, move forward, take any positives that they can, like you said, the start of the game, and focus on that? I know you're dealing with young guys. How do you get them to just flush that and move on?
Yeah, it's a great question. You go back to process. It's all about process, right? What is the process that you have leading into the game? What's your process of every single snap that you play? The results are going to be what you want when your process is what it needs to be. If you just say, you look at a number at the end of a game, right? Okay, let's boil it down to every single play. What's our process? How do we prepare leading into the game, right? As coaches, how do we prepare as players, right? All of us working together to be able to do that. So I think you just take it back to every single rep on that practice field, every single minute in those meetings of how we prepare. What we're doing right now as a staff preparing. That to me is how you fix an issue, right? You just take it back to controllables and let's make sure our process is on point.
Hey, Matt, a lot was expected of Aaron Casey at the start of the season, and it seems like he's really performed to that level. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, he's done a tremendous job. He's playing really fast. You see his physicality. He's beating blocks. He's making tackles. He's making plays in the run and throw game. I've been, really pleased with him. And to me, his leadership presence is felt, and he's doing what I expect him to do, and needs to continue that every single week, and continue to be a great leader for us, and the heartbeat of our defense.
Anything else for Matt?
Thanks, guys.